Hey guys, as promised, today's episode we'll be talking about how to make a prosthetic eye, and I'm also going to be putting in a little bit of my personal information with my experiences as well. Now this channel is all about promoting prosthetic eye individuals and our cause. You want to learn more about that cause, go to www.i1fitness.com. That website will also be down in the description with other affiliate links as well. So let's get started. So here is my prosthetic. Oh wait, I'm wearing an eye patch. So this eye patch is what I wear. I have a couple of other ones that my mom actually handmade me while I was having surgery. And I got to start to use these last summer because of my mom. So I have a whole bunch of different eye patches that I can pick from for different outfits or just different moods I want to wear. But I also have a prosthetic eye. So not everyone has a prosthetic eye, and there are many different reasons. One of those reasons are the cost. Now, if you haven't already heard or knew about this, most insurance companies deem prosthetic eyes to be cosmetic. Awesome, right? Well, my insurance company at the time deemed my prosthetic eye as a cosmetic feature and not a necessity. So I had to come 100% out of pocket. There are different places in the world that are covered, or if you're in Canada and healthcare is free, that's covered for you. Here in the United States, it is not always covered, and that was my case. So, of that being said, this episode will be about how to make a prosthetic eye, not so much about the behind the scenes. We'll get to that later in a different episode, but stay tuned because we are about to get started. I am all about giving, and I want to give to you. So, in appreciation for you subscribing and liking this video and watching, I will be giving all my subscribers a free gift. So stay tuned to the end of this video to see how you can get your gift. All right, so I wanted to share with you at first, right after I had my surgery, my very last surgeries where they removed my actual eye. The name for this surgery is, now there are many different reasons for your eye being removed and needing a prosthetic to put in its place. There are accidents like mine. There are cancer reasons, diseases. There are so many different things that could happen to the health of your eye. Well, in my situation, I was in an accident, if you didn't already know, and I lost my right eye. I had an exploratory surgery before leading up to the removal of my eye. That was all in one day. Now, a lot of people don't understand, but you cannot get your prosthetic eye right after you have your eye removed. You have to have a period of healing. Now, they typically want you to wait about 2 months, which is 8 weeks, and that is what I did. So I had my eye removed in April, and then in July of that same year, I was able to get my prosthetic eye fitted and custom made for me. Just me. There was no stock items where I went in and picked it and shoved it in and hope for the best. They created it. Now in the last episode, I talked about the history of the prosthetic eye and how it has evolved and how now we aren't using stock eyes, we are using custom eyes. Now you will be paying more for that custom eye than just a stock eye, but what you receive is priceless. So if you haven't watched that episode or that video, I will link that video as well down in the description below so you can check that out. So let's get into the meats and potatoes, so to speak, of how to build a prosthetic eye. So when you think about people's eyes, or your eyes in general, you don't tend to think about every shade of color that is in your iris, or the shape of your eye, or the story one's eyes tells. I'm sure you've heard people talk about how he's got sad eyes, or, droopy eyes, or his eyes or her eyes, they smile. We are defined by little features like our eyes. Well, not so little, right? So when one loses an eye, it means something. People tend to get a prosthetic eye for many reasons. They could have a tumor. They could be severely damaged in an accident. They could have cancer. Maybe a home accident. There are many reasons why one needs a prosthetic eye. When you're getting your prosthetic, if you can afford one, and if you're able to have one, it is a day you will never forget. And I'm speaking from experience. When you think of art, you think of these huge masterpieces on a wall, or some crazy huge sculpture that you walk up on, but you can see in a museum, but you can't touch. When I think of art, I think of this. This guy right here, to me, is art. There are 6 steps to making a prosthesis if you want to break it down, and if you like to follow along that way. The first step, listed right here, is making the impression to your eye socket. Now, I remember for myself when I was with my doctor who removed my eye, and he referred me to the local ocularist in town. And he said how they were going to do an impression of your eye socket to form your prosthesis. And I thought to myself, at first, it's kind of like a dental impression when you get a retainer. But then I'm thinking, it's going in my eye socket. How is that going to feel? So I asked him, and he said, well, I've never been asked that. And he has been removing eyes and doing eye surgeries, not just the removal of an eye, but so many different things for many, many years. And he said, well, let me know when next time I see you, and so I can tell my next patient. Well, anyway, the feeling, it had pressure, and it was kind of had some discomfort, but it didn't hurt. And I was scared. I've never been through this. So there are many people out there, I'm sure, who had so many questions, didn't want to ask, didn't know how to ask, were too scared to ask, or maybe they didn't even think about those. They were still adjusting with the fact that they lost their eye and they have half their sight. Which, a side note, you don't lose half of your sight. You actually lose 33% of your overall vision, because when you have 2 eyes, your sight overlaps, which I did not know until my whole experience with losing an eye. So that was a nice fun fact for you. So they do a molding for the first step. Second step, you get the iris and the pupil lined up. You want them to be symmetrical. So they take this impression they just made and had it hardened, and they literally, my ocularist, he's been doing it for many, many years, He is an artist, and so is his wife. They do it together. It is a family-run company, and now they also have their son, Zach, doing it as well. So it's pretty neat, and I'm very, very blessed and happy to have them as my ocularists. Anyway, his dad, he was painting and adjusting the pupil of this eye that he was going to put on the prosthesis, and he was just looking, he was matching them up to my face, literally eyeballing it. He's done it for so many years. He's just tinkers with it back and forth until he gets it perfect. The third step is making the final mold. So once you actually harden it, and they process it through, they have a really neat way of doing it. Now I will link that description of my resource down below if you want to learn in depth of how it occurs. There are a couple of videos and articles that I will I suggest to you. But anyway, once the third step, they make the final mold. Now, after that step, they are checking the prosthesis for the perfect color of your pupil to match your other side. So, for me, personally, my experience, he had me go outside, and he had me go in the hallway inside, and he had me go all these different places, and I didn't even think that the sun, when it reflects on your good eye, so to speak, changes the color of your eye. That is why people, look in the sun for a perfect selfie because their eyes are just shining. Well, anyway, you also have, when you're inside, your eyes are dimmer or a little bit darker. With that being said, he took me everywhere, and he showed me try to get the perfect lighting for my prosthesis. And to me, I think it's just amazing. It's perfect as what it can be. So anyway, then the fifth step, they start testing the prosthesis on the patient. So they get the coloring, they get the look of it centered. So you have you're symmetrical. Now let me show you this real fast. I had this out so I can show you. Now here's my prosthetic. Let me put this in. You just lift your eyelid, so to speak. Look up. Tuck it. There you go. Okay, so at this step 5, they're trying to get your prosthesis and the pupil of your prosthesis symmetrical with your other eye. So you see how the whites of your eyes are showing, and they're trying to get that as much as possible at the bottom where your eyelids touch your pupils or your iris, or however it is individually to you. That's what they're doing this step. And they do this by putting it in your eye socket and adjusting and then taking out and doing some adjustments and then putting it back in your eye socket and just back and forth. Then the final step, they are adjusting the color, the final coloring of your prosthesis, and they layer it up with a acrylic coating on top of it, so it is protected by me taking it in and out or dropping it maybe, and just wear and tear every single day using this prosthesis until you need a new one. And that's it. I walked in same day and walked out, had my prosthesis done. I had to go on a lunch in between, take a little break so they can mold it up and it took a couple hours right there, but I came back and got it done. And it was the best experience so far in my life right now. Putting that prosthetic in for the very first time was overwhelming. I didn't expect to have so much emotions just spilling out, and I started crying. And I remember he told me, he's like, "Don't worry, it happens a lot." And I was like, I don't even know where this came from. But that is, guys, this is why I advocate for prosthetic eye awareness with all of my heart, because that experience meant so much to me. I want everyone who is in need of a prosthetic eye to be able to experience that. You can have a prosthetic eye, you could have an eye patch, you could just walk proud with it out, not even wear one at all. It doesn't matter what you do, as long as you're doing and are able to do the option that makes you happy. You see, that is why I'm advocating for this. People don't even get the choice. Those options are taken from them because insurance companies deem them to be cosmetic. Now, yes, there are other countries that have free insurance. There are some insurance companies that will pay for some help with something, because speaking from experience and just thinking back and putting myself in that moment, it was so meaningful, and it did so much to who I am and my mindset, because I remember every single day waking up, looking in the mirror, not being happy, and then going in and looking in the mirror that one more time and thinking, wow, there's Shancy. There I am. Where were you? And there I was. It's just amazing. So anyway, that is the 6 steps of making a prosthetic eye. Just an overview for you, and how simple it really is to make it, yet now when I say simple, I don't want to downplay this. It is very hands-on and detailed, and they are very talented, okay? But it can be all done in one day. It doesn't need to be shipped off. It doesn't need to, be going through some crazy fire and sitting overnight, I don't know, to harden it. It's really simple. So just go look at that description down below at that link I will have for you if you're really interested in the details of how it's made and you like to learn those things. But if you're really just interested in how long it takes, or how fast it is, the experience in general, that's what this video is about. If this video was interesting to you and you found some information you didn't know, or just was eye-opening, yes, pun intended, then go ahead and like this video and subscribe to this channel. I will be uploading information on the prosthetic eye and day-to-day life and my experiences as well. So with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in today, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week. I didn't forget about you guys. I still have your free gift. What is it? Right here. Who doesn't like an awesome sports band? If you want to redeem your gift, subscribe to this channel and then DM me after you have already subscribed. I will verify and check it out and then tell you further information on how you can get an I1 Fitness wristband.